Okay, again, I'd like to remind you to check your attendance code with anybody who's absent. Let me just quickly do a screening of everybody first. So as I screen you, what runs in my memory here is I can detect that you've missed my tutorial last week. That is what I do when I screen all my students. So the reason I spend 1 minute to screen, I can actually pluck out the faces that I have not seen for last week's tutorial. So, and I look forward for the upcoming tutorials also. And it also gets me to familiarize myself with my students. If not remembering the name, at least if I pass you in the corridor, you'll say, "Good afternoon, Dr. Hema." If I just look at you like, I can't be asking you, "You're my student," or, So that's why looking at your faces helps me also familiarize with who you are and that the fact that you're actually in my class, okay? So great. Some of y'all I've not seen tutorial sessions, so quick one, just a quick one. Hey. I am going to trip on him one day, And some more you go and wear a color that I cannot see. At least you wear my favorite color, okay? So hang on. Where is that boy? He's not here. Yeah. So when I find certain individuals that I'm not very confident of in terms of their attitude and their contribution to the module on their end, I'm a bit worried. So that's why I screen, and then when he comes or she comes during tutorial session, I'll be able to ask what I need to attend. Because a lot that has been happening with the attendance code system. Attendance codes are being plagiarized. So if you tell me, "No, I was in class," then I'll say, "No, I did not see you." So that's why I spend this few minutes. So, if I'm looking at you, look at me, don't look down. I haven't started her lecture online or anything. Look at me, just look up, look at me. Everyone look at me. Just look at me, quickly scanning everybody who's in the class. Right? Okay, great. I have all your faces. Good morning. Maybe a reply back. Good morning. The week just started. You cannot be this dull, right? I know there's a lot of assignments, a lot of deliverables to come, right? But good morning. No, let's try that again, okay? Good morning, everybody. So sad. Okay. Today I'm dressed up in my very favorite color, and it's actually the start of the Diwali week. And for me, it starts in the week because the celebrations have begun. I had to drive 4 hours back from Penang, my son's hometown where he was born. So I just reached, actually, so for 4 hours I've had this face on, and I was excited to come in for class because at least, it will energize me. So just for your information, if those of you all who are not aware, this Thursday is a celebration for the Hindus. It's called, in Malaysia we call it Deepavali, right? But if you want to take an accent to it, you can say Diwali, right? Okay, so whatever said and done, it's the festival of lights. It's the celebration of the good over evil, right? It's with a lot of colors. So today is my favorite color. I think tomorrow I'll do yellow. So vibrant colors, So where are all the Hindus who are celebrating? Are they vibrant or are they dull colors? The Hindus? Any Hindus here? Hi, what color are you wearing? You're wearing Halloween, is it? Because it's falling on the same day, right? So Halloween and Diwali are falling on the same day, so we don't know which one to celebrate. So it's fair lah. She's wearing something that's a bit scary lah. Okay, right. So what we're going to do today is we're going to do software quality. But before we start the lecture, Rana, Choi, and Aman, I want to see you all just right after class, okay, to give you all a bit of a briefing for your tutorial. So I believe everybody has, through your team leads, the team leads, I have Mia there for today, I have Choi. Choi, where are you? Choi, I have Rana, and I have Aman for the team for tutorial session. I believe I've already given you quite a bit of load to share with your classmates, which I'm pretty sure you have shared. You can start your class diagrams, all right? Try it out individually first, right? Okay? You are which tutorial group, may I ask? Yeah. How come I've not seen you at all? 1 o'clock? Hey? Mia? Have you seen him? Yeah, I've not seen. Have you been coming for tutorial sessions? I don't think so. Which group? Who's your team lead? What's your team lead's name? Who? Tim. Tim, last week you were not around. Last week tutorial you didn't come. Where is your team members? Come, identify now quickly. I know who are your team members. Only 2 boys came from that class, from that group. If your team's group, where? He came last week? Okay, right. We'll check. Okay. Now, so I'm pretty good with faces. So, you know, if attendance is fabricated, yeah, la-di-da. Okay. So let's go with quality. Now, I teach this module as a subject in final year. So this module in terms of software, this chapter that you're learning as just a small synopsis is being taught as a module in final year. For the final year students, it's taught in the last semester. But in your case, you are learning it as just the chapter. So we're going to do only software quality today, as much as we possibly can try to, rather I try to make you understand software quality. If you remember, the first lecture that I had with you, I stood there and said this group of people can raise the white flag, right? So this group of people who fundamentally represent the quality team in an organization that advocates quality culture. We're talking about software houses. Or you could go for any organization that puts a lot of emphasis in ensuring that before we release a product, be it a car or whatever, right, we have to ensure that we have a benchmark of conformance to requirements. So when we talk about software quality, that 3 words that I would use to best describe it is what we term as conformance to requirements. You conform to the requirements as stated by the clients. Then you'll turn around and ask me, so aren't the analysts, the designers, the architect, the developers conforming to the requirements? Yes, they are conforming to ensure their task, right, is done. Of course, to take the user requirements and convert it into a tool that best defines and is understood, and then it translates to a product. So they are very blinkered. Blinkered means they're very focused in their task only. But to look at it in a big picture from the time that the business case or charters are signed to the point where the product's ready, and it's being tested and waiting for release with the variety of versions that it has, the big picture, right, to ensure that the release is going to be acceptable, is going to be successful, you're not going to incur a lot of cost in terms of post, right, implementation, is the job of the quality team. Now, that's only feasible if you have a quality culture. What do you mean by a quality culture? The attitude that you bring about in your organization, right, to ensure that you're very rule-based, you do a checklist on anything and everything that comes in and is ready to release. So you don't handshake with the testers, you know, you don't handshake with the developers, but you take a top-level view. So you are actually riding as a shadow when the analysts and the designers and developers are doing their job. You are walking with them. They are ensuring the product meets the intended user requirements. Quality does that, and it also checks to see whether it conforms to the benchmark standard, such as ISO, CMMI, Six Sigma. So these are all standards. Standards that are created by regulatory organizations that says, in order for you to be in the industry, you have to adopt some standards. And if you want to carry our certification or standards, you be audited. So the audit takes place either independently or within the organization. You have what we call an internal audit, and then you have an external audit where you wait for the regulatory individuals with their representatives to come in to do what we call a check and balance. If you do not conform to the requirements, the final sign-off in the revision of your certificate, it will not be signed. They will give you some time to go and clean up, and then only your license will be renewed or your certificate will be renewed. So it's also a marketing strategy for people to have a lot of vote of confidence to the company. Vote of confidence meaning I want to hire these guys to build my software solution. Are they credible enough? I'm not too sure. Yes, I know it's heard word of mouth. People have spoken about their company. But then, if I start to see their credentials with all the certificates down at the footer, reputable, okay, great. So it's a point up when you have these kind of accreditations. Just like when you choose a university, right? You will also look at whether or not the university, right, holds some accreditations, right? Correct? So that beefs up your decision making, am I right? So similarly, for software houses, it's the same, right? So let's explore what is software quality, right? So, as much as I could have done it in the last 10 minutes, study and practice that describes the desirable attributes of software. There are two main approaches, which is defect management and quality attributes. So when we talk about defect management is your testers. What is the role of the tester that I've told you from day one is to, the role of a tester is to, the role of the tester, I told you this in the first lecture. They cannot sleep if they cannot find a bug. The role of the tester, I have done my job successfully if I find a bug. The role of the tester's objective is not to ensure there's no bugs. The role of the tester is to look at the developer. Of course, they don't do this, but within, the role of the tester is looking at the developer and say, I'll find a fault. I will find an error. Eventually, I will find the defect and the system is a failure. Not because I want to shame you, but I got to do my job. Do you understand? Because potentially, some of y'all will become software testers one day. Yes, it is a very mundane role. Imagine you work for companies where they have common off-shelf softwares. If you work for companies which are large like Infosys, but then again, if you work for these kind of companies, you will work for domain industries. So you are a software tester within, let's say, clients that do manufacturing, right? No doubt, if you work with customized softwares, you get to explore different applications. If you work with off-shelf, it's the same old applications that you'll have to just rigorously test. But the role of a software tester, I have done my job if I find a bug. When are you finding the bug? I'm finding the bug before it is being released. That's good. That's not to say the developer didn't do his work well. There is always room, right? In software development, the theory of principle is softwares, when you build, no matter what development strategies you adopt, the assumption you must carry with you is there will be a bug. Imagine the mindset. There will be a bug, there will be a bug. You will find ways to find it. Am I right? Or if you go with the principle that, oh, he's a good developer, for sure one, no bug lah. So when you put a mindset that you're not going to find, you will not rigorously, right, find it. So it's an attitude. A lot of the job roles that you take, it's an attitude. It's not that you're not capable of doing that task, but if it's that self-push that you have, the drive that you have, the motivation that you have, right, to lurk and find ways to get the best out of your task. So it comes back to your attitude. So if you can find the release, remember, let's say clean. The quality will say, wait up. You say clean, let me do a conformance check. You say clean in your task. I say not clean because when I take it from the top to come down here, not conforming to requirements. So the quality analyst has the veto power. If your organization has got a quality culture, very strict, you have the power to raise the white flag. No release. If the management turns around and asks you why, audited, not conforming. Big picture. Do you understand? So why do they raise the white flag? It's not only defect, but not meeting the quality attributes. When you audit, product standard and process standard fail. Or it could be the process standard that led to the quality deficiency of the product. Okay? Right. So why do you need quality? Why do you need quality management? Development organizations has requirements exceeding customer, added cost, certain quality characteristics cannot be applied, unambiguous terms. Even if product conforms, users may, why is that line there dangling? So let me finish that sentence for you. Even if the product conforms to its specification, users may have changing requirements. So when there are changing requirements, when you know such systems will have changing requirements, you probably want to, in the development stage, adopt a better methodology such as Agile, where it adapts to changing requirements. Then, keep on changing. Either you do a throwaway or an evolutionary prototype. So if there is changing requirements, think about this. Just focus for a little while. Focus for a little while, right? Every time you work with the client, you come here, changing requirements. You come here, changing requirements, build a product. You come here, changing requirements. You come here, how do you keep track? Where's your cutoff? Right? So there are times where keep on changing your requirements, potentially you lose track of your versions. So when you lose track of your version, who is overseeing it from here? The quality team. So when I come here this side, the quality team's role is not to say, surprise, you got it all wrong. No, the quality team is parallel, stop. You're not conforming. The requirements have changed. You're running a different requirement set to go up to the next version. Come back, come back. So all of these are all documented. So at the very end, if they don't follow through, so you can clean up parallel, but if you don't, then worst case scenario. The quality team will be asked, how come you didn't stop it here when you found a defect? So you must remember, in software industry, there are certain situations that you will have a defect, but the defect can be dormant. So let's say you have a defect and you release, because maybe they did not test that feature or function. But when you release, for 6 months, that function has been dormant. But then when it gets activated, you have a failure. And might I remind you, an error, right? A fault. So it starts with an error. An error leads to a fault or a defect. A defect ultimately will give you a software that's a failure. Do you understand the flow? Right? But then when you look at all of this, who is the cause of this? Who is the cause of the error, fault, and failure? Quality team equals to people. Right? People. You can't blame the system, lah. That's why communication is very important. If at the end of the day there was a failure, the thing that they will go back to is the communication plan document. Who is supposed to route what task to who? Who didn't get that task done? Who was responsible? So everything will boil down to a person's role. And that's what we call accountability. You can't keep on blaming people. It's your role. Do you understand? That's why as a product owner, you have to be very good in people management. One is about his task, the other one is knowing him and knowing what he's capable of doing for the task, or what he's not capable of doing, whether I want to build him, whether I want to target his weakness, or whether I want to find ways, right, to alleviate his task, to make it better. So today, the industry is about also people. And if you want to be a product owner one day, that's a big challenge that you have to understand about people. Okay? Right. So quality management, when we talk about quality management, it's about the human part of it. So quality management comes with the software quality department. Software quality department is just, a small composition of a group of people, right, in an organization. You can have a software quality department, right? What they do is they do software quality management. But then, you can't have a department if you don't have above that a management culture. So a management culture is where the organization, when they build their portfolio as a software house, the first thing they do is they incorporate quality standards. So from management culture, that means what I'm saying is, from the CEO itself, from every single investor or the founder itself, he has to have a mindset of quality culture. If the top people don't give preference on it, you cannot replicate. You understand? Right? So that's why, let me tell you a very simple awareness that I see. If you want to be a quality analyst, the type of attitude that they are looking for in a person when they interview you is deontologist. Deontologist is a person, this is a psychological, ethical principle of a person. Deontologist, remember I gave you that example of the $100 bill that you will drop here. Remember in the first few classes? Deontologist is a person without hesitation, takes the 100, not thinking, but immediately, somebody's lost this, I have to go and report it to whichever department. Immediately. Not, now, what do I do? If you start to put your thought process and you don't immediately think rule-based, you cannot work for software quality team. Because software quality team blocks everybody aside, looks at conformance only. Doesn't matter if I've been working with you for 4 years, if there is a failure, potential failure, I will raise the flag. Even if I go for lunch with you every time. I'm rule-based. That's it. So the type of people that will play a very good role as a quality analyst is a rule-based person. So that's why when they interview you as a software quality assurance analyst, they'll have to do they'll have to check whether you're the type of person that works very well with rules. Let's just stay in one spot. Let's see whether that works. What is SQA, SQP, SQC? So it actually starts with the initiation. So you establishment of network of organizational procedures. So assurance is defined in the initiation stage of your project. That means in the assurance is you're already saying that, look, our organization incorporates this standard. Product quality standard, process quality, these are the two standards we adopt. So it's assurance. That means I'm telling you in the initiation, when I talk to my client, I'm telling you, look, the way we assure quality is we benchmark it with a standard. So it is done in the initiation stage. Initiation means when you sign the agreement with your client. Of course, you have to tell your client what? You have to boast what? Right? Then you go into planning. Planning, software quality planning takes place in the planning stage of any project. So you have to plan. That means you know the project depth and breadth is going to be that much. I'm going to plan from the time you go and speak to your users, from the time you finalize the requirements, I will plan together. I'm doing quality plan. You do your project plan. But then I walk parallel with you. So that's why, let me show you a diagram. Just 1 second. Let me show you a diagram that you may understand what I mean if I were to take the at this, you will hopefully try to digress. Okay? So this is what we call the project management. So if you are a project manager, you take on what we call a PMI certification, Project Management Institute certification. Every project, be it building a car or be it building a software to deliver to your client, or doing your degree is a project. They're all temporary. It's got a start, it's got an end. But let's try to focus on software development here, right? And if you can just go down the knowledge areas, define your scope, the time it takes in terms of your planning of your project, your cost estimate. Now look at number 5 there. Everybody look up. I don't know why you're looking left and right. Everyone looking up? Right. Let's look up and look at number 5. So when you actually assurance, rightfully you define it first here. You talk to your client and you tell them, I assure you we are conforming with ISO or McCall or Bohem or whatever model, right? Every industry knows this. Of course, targeted towards software more for ISO standards, right? So in the beginning itself, I blow my trumpet. Oh, we are conform, we have audited, we have our license, our certification. Yep, I will tell you in my charter that I have got quality assurance in place. Then you apply quality planning that ensures that you deliver your product, like I told you just now, working parallel. Now, what you define here is what, when you execute, that means when you are directing and managing the project, when you are building your software solution. This is the part where the designers and the developers are executing. So if you're running a social media campaign ad, Let's say you want to create a business on social media. All your planning, what the first post is going to be, what your color coordination, right? How you're going to unveil. You plan everything. Execution, let's say 30 you launch your first social media ad. That's execution. Because it's going live. In software, it's all about developing. You're literally developing the application. When you develop the application, you will ensure that it conforms to the assurance that you find in your initiation. So, while executing is going on, parallel to it will be monitoring. So, if I know that this is the benchmark, I have to control it. I have to ensure that quality control. That means this is the standard, where are we at? Are we in control of it or not? So these two tasks, actually, these two cycle stages, or what we call, the life cycle phases, and this is the process groups, these two work in parallel. One is you benchmark against your standard, you perform assurance. I assure you that we are abiding by standard. The second one is you promise. I ensure that in this component, I work with it. I don't go out of the conformance to the requirements. So I'm actually a shadow of the developer team. And usually their relationship is pretty good, because at the end of the day, you must remember, I'm not saying it's perfect, but it's good. But at the end of the day, everybody has got the common objective to ensure that you deliver to your client. Do you understand? Right? So if you look at the whole scenario of the software, right, going back to this diagram, forgetting something called metrics to predict and control quality. Software metrics, there are a lot of methods. There's the COCOMO model. So what does the software metrics do? Remember that diagram just now? In the initiation stage, what will you tell people in terms of cost of a project? Okay? What we plan for the project is going to cost us 300,000. That's what I plan. Got a division of all the 300,000. That's what we plan. How do you control? That means you plan in the beginning before you start your project that it's going to cost you 300,000. But let's say the project has already gone into execution. You plan 300,000. Today, fast forward a bit, 3 months down the road, 6 months project, 3 months. I plan 300,000. I'm actual now, right? At the moment, I'm actual, right? Now, where am I at? Am I spending more than necessary? Or have I gone out of budget? Or is there potential that the next few months, I'm going to be exceeding? So, matrices allows you to control. That means halfway through quarter basis, I can check to see whether what I've planned and what I should be spending every month, I'm controlling. Allow you to manage, predict, and also control. And all these methods are used in the industry today for them to gauge an amount to tell your client not to run out and deliver your product. That is what we metrics. The key: collect, analyze, and control. That is what the metrics will do. Teaches you a few methods to control, you adopt it because you're quality assured and you are benchmarking against that standard. Go and take Taylor's brochure, flip it. I don't know where is it now, but flip it. Look at all the certification of quality boards and standards that they have. education standard, which is MQA, right? But they also have process standards and also product standards in terms of the material content and also the processes that lead to all of this. So under software, you will hear different, so you can run through all, okay? Look at the key word that is up there, right? ISO is not only the source of the development standard, but ISO also in some ways inculcates process and product standard, right? So ISO runs two standard. One, quality of product, right? And quality in use of the product. One is the standard that applies for the software, right? Where it takes into many aspects. Reliability, you go into efficiency, you'll go into performance, right? That's about the product. But then there's another part, which is basically talking about using the product. So if people use the product, now what are the aspects of the features of the product, right? Is it easy to use? Is the user satisfied when they use the product? So one is about the product, performance, you know, reliability, right? Another one is satisfaction about using the product. So ISO governs two, product quality standard and process standard. For that, I will show you one more slide. I'm exiting out here. Just give me a second. Quality module. And I will take one of the, let me open this part, then at least you will understand what I mean by this. Have a look. So this is the two separations of the ISO standard, what I was talking to you about. One is how do you conform and check, right? For potential error, fault, or failure, first you benchmark on the product quality itself. So what do you check? Everything. Is it functionally suitable for the user's needs based on the requirements? You check all of this. Is it secure? You have sufficient security, no threats, right? All the potential cyber threats have been looked into and abided by. Everything from confidentiality, how reliable, how portable, usable, performance efficiency, maintainability, compatibility. Now that's about the product. But that's also after you build the product, it's about quality of the product in the users using it, quality of use. So quality of use takes into account how effective is it in meeting the user's needs. How efficient was it in terms of from the time that it's given the request to meeting the user's needs? Were the users satisfied? Was it easy to understand? Was it easy to browse, right? Or was it a complicated application that took them too much of time? Is there freedom from risk? So certain softwares, you know, in terms of using it, you know, it's either tangible or intangible risk, maybe the data, or maybe the location to which where the software is used, the environmental effects to it, right? And also the context and coverage. So when you look at ISO standard and many other standards, I'm just going to go up a few slides. Look at the quality model standards. These are all the standards that's currently in the market today that you, if you run a software house, you can go and apply. You apply. You apply, but you can't just apply and put the badge and say, yeah, great, we've got it, you know, yeah. But how do you practice it? You have this standard, you will be audited by the regulatory. So there will be representatives from these boards and they will assess if they feel that you've not met the necessary benchmark standard, then they will say one word, non-conformance. If you conform, okay, the certificate and the license renewed. And then again, why? Not only for you to work on producing quality product, but the vote of confidence and the assurance that you leave with your clients. They will come back to you. Or if at all, you can garner new clients. The credibility is there. Right? So in this module, we introduce you all these standards and we teach you how to benchmark these standards. And you can find this out in research also. All right? So if you were to look at all of these processes, right, you adopt what we call organizational quality process, right? So the initiation is actually starting from the project quality management. So management, today, management sits up. Management will decide the standard they'll adopt, and it's a top-down effect. Culture starts from above. Right? If you can create the culture from above, then you will have. And then you have got other standards that are more process-based. So CMMI standard, when CMMI is all process, the process that gets to the product. If you're going to deliver a lecture like this, at the end of the day, it could be a recording of a lecture, that's the outcome. But then the process that's led to this, the preparation of your materials, of putting up things inside your My Times, right, allocating classroom, these are all process that leads to you sitting down viably for a lecture session. But CMMI standard starts in levels. When you apply, they will come and assess your process and they will tell you, okay, you are level 2. Ultimately, everybody wants to go to CMMI standard maturity level 5. Level 5 is, you're up there. So in the world, there's this one industry, and I think I've told you this, if I recall right. If I've not, I will retell this short little story. In the business arena in the world, the first industry to have been given, not many industries are given these kind of certifications. Most of the time, 90%, 95% maybe, you have to go apply. You apply for the certification so that you can say, oh, we are adopting this standard, or we have been certified by this standard. There's one industry which you can go and research after this if you're inquisitive to know. There's one industry that Six Sigma, if you learn about Six Sigma, is the operatable business process that ultimately, has gained maturity level that in business portfolio, if you have Six Sigma, everybody looks at you as if like, you are Messiah. You very smooth. Literally reaching zero tolerance. Zero. One industry in the world, the team from Six Sigma went, even sitting down, so you're sleeping. Now, they went up to them and said, please take this certification because what you do, your fault error below 0.0001. One industry. And when Six Sigma came to give them the certification, all they did was like, what is this? What's Six Sigma? Right? Why do we need all this? We are doing our job very well. Why do we need all of this? No need, no need. They actually turned around and said, but today, this was maybe about 15 years ago. 15 years ago, they were given, please take this Six Sigma certification. Your business operation, oh, so perfect. We can't understand how you do without automation. Without automation. Now that industry, it's all over the internet today. I'm telling you this of a story 15 years ago. Today, yeah, they have all their certificates. Of course, they have to keep up with recognition and people have to know it. And it's also about tourism, people come and seeing how they do it. That one industry, I don't have a marker pen now, but you can search it up. I can tell you, it's called the Dabbawalas. Dabbawala, D-A-B-A-W-A-L-L-A, the Dabbawalas of India. No, I'm not being racist, huh? Okay, right? So those of you all from India, Dabbawala, he knows? Dabbawalas are the people who carry tiffins, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, Bombay, Delhi, if those of you all are doing a quick search, Bombay, Delhi. Give me quickly, Bombay, Delhi. What are you all searching? Where to eat now, is it? So go and do a research on Dabbawala. And then when I see you during it, you come and tell me, what did you read about them? So they travel through train. I mean, to cut the story short, all they do is they go to a homemaker's house and the wife would pack up tiffins. And can you imagine, they're taking hundreds and hundreds of tiffin and all they use is manual coding of the tiffin. Can you imagine, tiffins all literally kind of look alike, right? And then they'll pick up this one, there's a small little code. They have a small little code, all manually written, right? They take from the wife's house, then they take the train. By 12 o'clock, they'll have to reach the destination of the husband's office to give him the correct tiffin. Now, 0.0001 error. They have, I would like to use the word never, but I think I can use it now. They have never made a mistake of sending the wrong tiffin to the wrong. I'm not talking about taking one tiffin from one wife and going, here. No mistake. I'm talking about hundreds of tiffins. All the Dabbawalas will come, congregate in the train station. You are responsible to go to east, you're responsible to north, you're going to west, right? Now, exchange. You'll be like, where the hell? Oh my God, I took from, I can't remember which one I took. It's not me from this data. I'm the one saying to, it is centralized manually in the train station. Okay, you take this, you take this, you take this, go send. 0.0001 error. Huh? Six Sigma went to them and said, take this certification, please. How do you all do it? Memory. All here, registered. 0268. Okay, let's go to the 0368. And some of them have to go and take the empty tiffin back because the husband will work late or something and must go and send back to the wife. What? Home food, tiffin. The wife must cook by 10 o'clock because the tiffin guy must come by 10 o'clock to collect it. They all work by time. They know the train's going to be delayed. They'll know how to work with time. Because whatever it is, by 12 o'clock, the husband will get the food. Go and read about them. I gave this in 2011. In 2011, I gave this as a, today you call it PSC, but last time we used to call it Software Development and Design. You're only doing design. My first UWE student batch. 2011 was my first UWE batch. That is how young I am in TLS. The first batch of UWE, I threw this Dabbawala, go and automate it. Yes. Go find, research, find out how they do that. If you open up my old Facebook, you will see my students all posting on Facebook. We are in Taylor's at 2 a.m. doing Dabbawala development. Thanks, Miss Hema. By the way, happy birthday. By the way, I can show you that photo. All married now, by the way. Most of them are all married, my students. Go and read about them. They will tell you what zero fault tolerance is about. And they did it completely manual. Baffled. Six Sigma team were baffled. You know, Asia, name it, Forbes magazine, whatever magazine throughout the whole wide world went in to go and, how do you all do it? Huh? Well, I mean, 2011 I gave it as a research. They were doing it. Today you go and see. They're a little bit, they're all in YouTube now. Those days they were not in YouTube. If watch the YouTube videos, you will understand what I'm saying. Dabba wala. What are we going on our time? Hey, no wonder that guy just. Okay, thank you very much, everyone. There's a lot that you can read up. We only did software quality today. Next week we'll do object diagram. That's the part 2 of this. If you have any questions regarding quality, let me know. Hang on, don't pack yet, wait. Now, for Monday's tutorial, Mia, we'll look at the class diagrams, right? Whatever that you all have done. I know I've given it in a very short period. I don't expect you all to finish it. But you can spend today's tutorial doing it. Don't worry, right? I know you have your assignments also. For Wednesday's tutorial and Friday's tutorial, all the team leads, please come and see me because you have a different task to do, plus your class diagram, right? Because of my inavailability physically on Wednesday and Friday, okay?